Palestine, the Israeli regime bombarded a building in the Gaza city of Rafah, killing 6 civilians, including 4 children. The Yemeni armed forces announced new phase of operations in the Red Sea. In Brazil, heavy rains in the state of Rio Grande do Sul left over 30 people dead, 70 missing, and 24,000 others displaced. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Israeli occupation forces bombarded a building in the Gaza city of Rafah, killing 6 civilians, including 4 minors. The bombing hit a house in the Tel al-Sultan neighborhood, in which dozens of civilians were wounded. They also attacked the Bureij refugee camp, resulting in 9 others wounded. According to official information, in the last few hours, the Israeli army allowed the entry of only 212 trucks of humanitarian aid, not enough to attend to the more than 2 million Rafah residents. The government of Turkey suspended trade relations with Israel as a pressure move for an immediate ceasefire against the Gaza Strip. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan announced the suspension of all export and import operations with Israel for its continuous aggression against Palestine and violation of human rights and international law. The president remarked that the commercial ties between both nations provide Tel Aviv with a benefit of some $9.5 billion, making Ankara its 5th most important commercial partner. The Turkish head of state stressed that the Zionist aggressions promoted by Benjamin Netanyahu make a rapprochement between Turkey and Israel impossible. Members of the U.S. Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, on Thursday confronted the International Court of Justice and threatened to propose sanctions against the body of its issues arrest warrants for senior Israeli officials, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Precisely, Israeli Prime Minister called on President Joe Biden to intervene in the matter. The almost imminent decision by the international body known as the ICJ, which has been investigating accusations of war crimes committed by the Israeli military since 2014, has set off all the alarms in Tel Aviv. In this regard, although the White House declined to comment, it alleged the court has no jurisdiction over the situation. Meanwhile, in Cuba, the University Student Federation ratified Friday's rejection to the police repression against students in the United States for denouncing Israel's crimes in Palestine. The rally was held on the steps of the University of Havana. Foreign students studying in the capital city were also invited. The University Student Federation also invited workers and citizens in general who cannot stand one more minute of Israeli genocide in the Gaza Strip. At the event, demonstrators raised their voices forcefully in support of the Palestinian people and against the police repression to which U.S. students are being subjected in solidarity with the Palestinian cause and against Israeli genocide. The French government evicted the building of their prestigious Paris Science and Letters University in the middle of a student pro-Palestinian encampment, repeating the United States' approach to student manifestations but with less violence. Numerous police officers surrounded the St. Guillaume Street campus, where about 50 students who rejected the Israeli genocide and called for a ceasefire in Gaza and the interruption of academic relations with Israel remained. The heavily armed police surrounded the campus but did not activate any aggressive device as they did on all university campuses in the United States. The repression has contributed to more universities around the world joining the protests. Also on Friday in France, university students rioted in support of the Palestinian cause and to condemn Israel's genocide against the Palestinian population of Gaza. French students' unions rallied in front of the Paris Pantheon after a pro-Gaza rally at the prestigious Sciences Po University in Paris was dispersed by police. The Paris police headquarters declared that 91 people were evicted without incident, while the office of Prime Minister Gabriel Attal stated that this type of protest will be treated with total severity. In recent weeks, educational establishments in several French cities have been rocked by demonstrations echoing the mass protests in Gaza.
We really regret the police intervention once again, more than a week after the first time, something that inflamed the whole professional community who were deeply shocked by this police entered at science spot, by the police entry into the university institution at the Sorbonne too. Once again, a red line has been crossed.
Let's go to Mexico, where also on Friday dozens of students from the National Autonomous University, the largest in the country, camped in protest against the Israeli military offensive in the Gaza Strip. In the meantime, they called to stop police repression against students in France, Germany, and in the United States. In this way, protesters also demanded the Mexican government to break diplomatic and commercial relations with Israel. Palestinian journalists covering Gaza have been awarded the UNESCO Guillermo Cano World Press Freedom Award 2024 as recommended by an international jury of media professionals. The award ceremony took place on May 2nd during the World Press Freedom Conference in Santiago, Chile. This prize, established in 1997 in honor of Colombian journalist Guillermo Cano, honors the exceptional contribution to defense and promotion of press freedom anywhere in the world, especially when this has been achieved in the face of danger. Guillermo Cano was editor of the newspaper El Espectador until his assassination in 1986 by hitmen under the orders of the Medellin cartel led by Pablo Escobar and Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha as a result of his journalistic investigations and the support his newspaper gave to certain political and social causes, such as the war against drug trafficking. The prize has been annually awarded by UNESCO on May 3rd, World Press Freedom Day since 1997. The purpose of the award is to recognize each year a person, organization, or institution that has made an outstanding contribution to the defense and or promotion of press freedom anywhere in the world, especially if it has been endangered. Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. On Friday, Yemeni armed forces announced the start of a new phase of operations in the Red Sea. The agency detailed that ships violating the decision to ban navigation to Israel and heading to Palestinian ports will be targeted. The defense team also noted that if the Israeli regime intends to carry out a military incursion against Rafah, it will impose sanctions on all vessels of supply-related companies, in addition to banning all vessels of these companies from passing through the area of operations of the armed forces, regardless of their destination.
The Yemeni armed forces, with God helps, announced the start of the implementation of the fourth phase of the escalation as follows: targeting all ships violating the decision to ban Israeli shipping and heading for the ports of occupied Palestine in the Mediterranean Sea in any area within our reach.
In addition, the armed forces spokesman said that sanctions will be imposed in the Red Sea if Israel intends to storm the Palestinian city of Rafah.
Secondly, the implementation of this measure begins as soon as this declaration is announced. Thirdly, if the Israeli enemy intends to launch an assault on the city of Rafah, the Yemeni armed forces will impose comprehensive sanctions on all ships and companies supplying and entering the occupied Palestinian ports, regardless of their nationality, and will prevent all ships belonging to these companies from passing through the armed forces area of operations, regardless of their destination.
The electoral campaigns for next Sunday's general elections in Panama closed Thursday. According to the country's electoral board, 8 presidential candidates have been registered for the elections. On the other hand, polls show that 20% of the more than 3 million Panamanians with right to vote are still undecided for whom to vote. Besides president and vice president, voters will also elect deputies to the Central American Parliament and to the National Assembly, and mayors, township representatives, and councilmen across the country. Venezuela commemorates on Friday 4 years since the defeat of the maritime operation called Gedeon, where a group of mercenaries aimed at assassinating President Nicolas Maduro and converting the country into a United States protectorate. In this sense, authorities of the state of La Guaira and members of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela led the commemorative event, highlighting the heroic attitude of the Civic Military Police Union. The failed operation sought to carry out a mercenary action with agents of the Administration for Drug Control linked to the sectors of the Venezuelan opposition, with the intention of overthrowing President Nicolás Maduro. Precisely, the commander of the militia of the state of La Guaira, Walter Vivas, was present to remember the actions of the Venezuelan people to defend the homeland from the imperialist attack.
Today we commemorate another date of this operation in which they tried to reverse the constitutional order and overthrow the Bolivarian revolution that our supreme and eternal commander, Hugo Chavez, made with so much effort. Today's memorial is simply a remembrance of the actions of the people in police uniforms, in army uniforms, in militia uniforms, and simply dressed as people defending the homeland against this imperialist attack.
On Thursday, an attempted riot has been reported in La Pila prison located in San Luis Potosí in north-central Mexico. Some inmate relatives heard detonations inside the prison. The Secretariat of Public Security insisted that the incident left neither dead nor injured. Meanwhile, the head of the department, Angel González Castillo, reported that the authorities quelled the disturbances and, after taking control of the prison, began a process of dialogue with the inmates. The Amnesty Chamber of the Special Jurisdiction for Peace in Colombia ordered 9,600 guerrilla fighters who signed the peace agreement to have their judicial records eliminated. The measure applies only to those who committed political crimes and received amnesties during the government of former President Juan Manuel Santos. In this way, the security agencies such as the National Police, the Registry Office, and even Interpol must eliminate from their files the data of those who benefited from this measure, ratifying that they are not linked to war crimes or crimes against humanity. The institutions have 30 days to provide information to the corresponding authorities and initiate the process of cleaning the files. Peruvian interim public prosecutor Juan Carlos Villena received in his office a delegation made up of relatives of the 50 victims of police repression on the protests against President Dina Boluarte. Victims and their relatives reaffirmed their demand for justice, for the lives lost, and for speedy investigations to take accountability and bring those responsible to justice. Meanwhile, in the south of the country, the leaders of the National Organization of Martyrs and Victims, who exhibited the photos of the fatal victims at the courthouse on Wednesday, requested a hearing to find out the progress of the investigations into the incident. We now have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. The Russian region of Belgorod suffered a new attack by the Ukrainian army that left one person wounded. The governor of Belgorod reported that an unmanned aerial vehicle was reported to have hit a bus with 3 persons on board in the Shebenikino urban district. The attack left as a result one person injured who received immediate medical attention, diagnosed with traumatism and an injury to the right arm. The Belgorod Oblast has been the most affected territory by the incursions of the Ukrainian army. The Russian government described as very dangerous Emmanuel Macron's statement on the possible sending of French troops to Ukraine. Following Macron's statements, the Kremlin reiterated that Russia will continue its special operation in Ukraine until it achieves its denazification of the country. The Eurasian nation's government stressed that President Vladimir Putin enjoys a very high level of support among Russians and that he knows what has to be done, and he does it well. Moscow also described as dangerous the statements of the United Kingdom's foreign minister about the possibility of attacks against Russia with British weapons. Volcanic eruptions from Mount Rank in central Indonesia have left houses damaged by volcanic material and burning lava and Tagulandang, a neighboring island. Authorities are deploying ships to evacuate residents to other islands. Eruptions at a remote Indonesian volcano forced more than half a dozen airports to close, with ash spreading as far as Malaysia, while authorities rushed to evacuate thousands due to tsunami fears. Mount Grande erupted 3 times on Tuesday, spewing lava and ash more than 5 kilometers into the sky and forcing authorities to issue evacuation orders for 12,000 locals. Julius Ramopoli, head of Mount Grande Monitoring Post, declared that the volcano still erupts ash and smoke above the crater. In Brazil, more than 30 people have died, 70 are missing, and around 24,000 people had to leave their homes as a result of torrential rains. The state of Rio Grande do Sul reached the highest water levels with 4.5 meters. A report issued by the Civil Defense indicated that the rainfall left a balance of 35 dead, over 74 missing, and dozens injured. The impact of the rains in the city of Porto Alegre caused the flood of 95% of the bus stations, which ended up with suspension of land transportation. In Kenya, the death toll has risen to 210 as flooding caused by the rain sweeps the country. Kenyan government reported that hundreds of citizens are still missing, while some 165,000 people were displaced. Moreover, more than 27,500 people were affected and 115 shelters have been set up. The Meteorological Department forecasts that the rains will continue through May, increasing the risk of rivers overflowing their banks. And at least 10 people have died as a result of a landslide on Wednesday in Cape Haitian in the north of the nation. City Council Head of Communications, Nelson Desholm, reported that the incident occurred in the area known as Barrière-Boutier, where a house fell and destroyed others. The landslide is said to have been caused by the heavy rains that have been lashing the area for several days. The National Hydrometeorological Unit issued on Thursday morning a flood and landslide alert for 8 of the 10 departments of the country. South America and the Caribbean are being strongly punished by El Niño, generating historic droughts and unprecedented floods. On Friday in El Salvador, more than 447 athletes from 54 nations will begin the World Junior Surfing Championship, which will last until May 12th. In this sense, the Minister of Tourism, Morena Valdez, assured that this event surpassed the record of the 2022 edition, which was of 45 countries. On her part, she also pointed out that the event not only promotes the young talent in surfing, but also positions the Central American nations as a solid destination in high-level sports. On the other hand, the Spanish Hans Odriozola, champion of the previous tournament, expressed that El Salvador has very good waves to organize this type of event. This World Championship is the 16th tournament held in the country since 2019 as part of the Surf City strategy. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.